Tail of the tape for the main event of the evening. 23-year-old Vergil Ortiz Jr. is back as he takes on Egidijus Kavaliauskas, who's 10 years older, 1 inch shorter, and they both have identical 71-inch reach. Here are the unified rules of boxing in play tonight. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and only the referee can stop the fight. Here is Jeremiah Gallegos.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we all been waiting for. Here from the home of the practice facility of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. We are live on DAZN for 12 rounds of championship boxing. Introducing to you first, the challenger, hailing from Kaunas, Lithuania. Here is Egidijus Machine Kavaliauskas.
Here comes the man nicknamed the Mean Machine, which was bestowed on him by former featherweight titleist Egidijus because of his grumpiness during training when he's trying to lose weight. But that Mean Machine moniker could also mean when he gets going, Sergio, with those big bombs, he's hard to stop.
No, he's, like I said, he's a strong, compact fighter, and if he's a Mean Machine, he's going to be fighting a fighting machine. But this man right here, he showed that he can have patience as well. It's not all coming forward with his aggression. He also knows how to step back, and he has great timing. That's what I like about Egidijus Kavaliauskas, is the timing of his aggression, that right hand, and especially with that left hook.
Yeah, one of the reasons to give Kavaliauskas a chance in this fight is his ability to counterpunch. Where Crawford got into some trouble during their fight was when he came in and he was timed by Kavaliauskas, who hit him with some big shots in that fight, including in the 3rd round when he should have been given credit for a knockdown. This guy is a very, very smart fighter in the ring.
Believe it or not, Chris, Las Vegas earlier today had Vergil Ortiz as an 18-1 favorite over the Lithuanian.
Look, Vergil Ortiz is an excellent fighter. All I'm saying is this guy's excellent too.
And there is the unbeaten 17-0, 17 knockouts for Vergil Ortiz Jr. from Grand Prairie, Texas, an outstanding amateur record, won the 2013 Junior Olympics, and won 7 national championships. He was born for this. Began boxing at the age of 5 under his father, began competing at the age of 8. Tonight, the biggest night of his career, a win could catapult him into a possible world title fight against none other than Terrence Crawford, should he get past Shawn Porter.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, set to enter the arena. Please welcome the undefeated champion, hailing from Grand Prairie, Texas, Vergil Ortiz Jr.
I don't want these fights. I've said it in the past before, you know, when you're playing the game, I just go straight to the main quest. I don't like doing the little side quests.
Vergil Ortiz Jr., the future has arrived!
I don't like the filler fights. I want to get straight to the point. I want to fight the best that's out there, and that's what I'm doing.
told us this week he doesn't feel comfortable becoming a superstar, but he may have no choice. The way he fights, the way he presents himself, Chris, he has all the characteristics, all the makings of being a fighter that people flock to, and they've done so here tonight in Frisco to see if he can get yet another KO win.
Yeah, we all like to make lists of the next big thing in boxing. Vergil Ortiz oftentimes doesn't find himself at the top of those lists. You'd often see Gervonta Davis. You'd see Ryan Garcia, a handful of others. But Vergil Ortiz has the potential to be the best and most successful fighter out of all of them. He is powerful, as those 17 knockouts indicate. He's also highly skilled, a very good defensive fighter when he keeps his guard up, and a fighter, as he told us this week, who feels himself getting better every single fight.
And it's especially that humility, that temperament that's going to keep him at the top, because he has his feet in the ground. He's grounded, but he's still landing them bombs with all the passion behind the fans as well here in his hometown.
No one has gone the distance with Vergil Ortiz Jr. Will that change here tonight in Texas against Egidijus Kavaliauskas?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas. Tonight, Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present the main event of the evening, live on DAZN. 12 rounds for the WBO International Welterweight Championship. Sponsored to you by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle. And odds for tonight's fights are brought to you by Bet Online. This bout is sanctioned by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation for Combative Sports, Executive Director Brian Francis, Commission Chair Rick Figueroa. Also sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization, the WBO President Francisco Valcarcel. WBO Supervisor here with us, Enrique Mendoza. Your 3 judges scoring this contest on the 10-point must system are from Texas, Javier Alvarez. From Arizona, Chris Flores. And from Texas, Jesse Reyes. And your championship referee at the sound of the bell, Lawrence Cole. Your timekeepers at ringside tonight are Renato Perez and Arthur White. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Frisco, Texas. 2 diamonds, 1 ring tonight. Who will shine the brightest? Damas y caballeros, it's golden time! Introducing to you first, the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner, standing with head trainer Marco Contreras. Tonight wearing black with multicolors. He officially weighed in at 146.6 pounds. In 24 professional bouts, his record is outstanding. 22 victories, including 18 wins coming to you by way of knockout, 1 defeat, and 1 draw. Introducing to you the 2-time Olympian and former world title challenger, hailing from Kaunas, Lithuania, introducing to you Egidijus Meat Machine Kavaliauskas. And across the ring stands his opponent in the red corner with trainer and father Vergil Ortiz Sr. and Robert Garcia Jr. Tonight donning black with gold, he officially weighed in at a ready 147 pounds. In 17 professional bouts, his record is perfect. 17 victories, 17 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, the fighting pride of Grand Prairie, Texas, and representing Dallas, the reigning, defending, undefeated WBO International Welterweight Champion, the phenomenal Vergil Ortiz Jr.
Gentlemen, I went over the rules early in the dressing room. I want you to obey my commands and protect yourselves at all times. Understood? Touch them up. Good luck to both of you.
Vergil Ortiz Jr., so reserved and quiet, but says when he steps into the ring, a quiet rage comes out. Can he rage against the machine? Egidijus Kavaliauskas from Lithuania trying to stop this 23-year-old's rise in its tracks. 12 rounds, Frisco, Texas, here we go. Ortiz Jr. in the black and gold, similar to Kavaliauskas, who's got black shoes. Ortiz Jr. in gold shoes. That's how we'll tell them apart.
It's going to be hard to separate the mean machine from a fighting machine, but this should be fun.
You know, one thing to watch early with Kavaliauskas, he operates behind that jab frequently, which is something you'd expect from a guy with a decorated amateur background like he has.
Kavaliauskas coming off a 336-day layoff, the longest of his career. And Sergio, what's the blueprint to beating Vergil Ortiz?
Well, no one's been able to figure that out yet, but obviously it's don't exchange with him, which is what Kavaliauskas likes to do at times. He has been showing patience recently in his last couple of fights, but he has a little bit of everything. So Kavaliauskas can be dangerous in there, but avoid exchanging with Vergil Ortiz Jr., especially early. Pick your shots, just like you did right there, backing up with that jab.
Good jab there from Ortiz.
And Kavaliauskas coming, both these fighters are coming off impressive wins, but you got to give it, you also got to give it to Kavaliauskas coming off a really exciting win with Michael Zwiski. You know, he was able to knock him out, but he had his hands full right there, and this is a similar opponent as far as size and stature in front of him.
Chris, you said it earlier, Kavaliauskas used to be the Vergil Ortiz of this division. All eyes were on him.
Yeah, Top Rank was very high on him for quite some time. And to be honest, Top Rank wasn't down on him when they let him go. They just didn't have anything for him. I mean, they have a hard enough time at 147 pounds finding something for Terrence Crawford. They just couldn't find the right fight for Egidijus Kavaliauskas, so they let him go, knowing he had this opportunity in front of him.
And we talk about losing, and once you lose that undefeated record, and there you go. So he lost to the #1 fighter in the world in Bud Crawford, and they let him go. But he's that good of a fighter, and he can beat anyone on any day.
Some exchanges now on the inside. Kavaliauskas said, listen, I don't make predictions, but I will say this. This fight will not go the distance, win or lose. Vegas has set the over-under at 6.5 rounds. They feel the same way.
No one's been able to last 7 rounds with Vergil Ortiz Jr. in there. He makes the biggest rings look like phone booths. He knows how to break down opponents. He knows how to cut off the ring, and of course, he knows how to put the pressure on.
Well, Kavaliauskas isn't going anywhere. You don't have to go far to find it.
From 10. Give me a number from 1 to 10. 8. Okay. Hey, they'll use that jab. They'll put the Vaseline on him.
Yeah, I got you.
Use that jab. But you got to feint sometimes, all right? Sometimes you hit him, boom, boom, hit him again with that same jab. And then come with that fucking right hand, all right? Come with it. Remember, he's going to fight, so if he knows he's behind, he's going to try to get it back, but he's not going to show it to you right away. He's going to be relaxed, and then it's come. Get the high guard, and think at those times to be ready to pull and move your head, okay? Good. Yeah. Touch him a little bit to the body now, but be careful though, he's looking there. All right, go. Go water.
So if you'll notice, no Robert Garcia in the corner for Vergil Ortiz tonight. Garcia, Ortiz's longtime trainer, is in Tulsa right now working the Josh Franco fight, for Franco's fight against Jason Maloney. Ortiz said it's not an issue. He has been trained or co-trained by his father, Vergil Ortiz Sr., since he was very young, so there is some continuity there. And talking to Robert Garcia this week, he said, look, I trust his father. I trust my son, Robert Garcia Jr., who is in as the second, and he believes that Ortiz should be able to win without him.
And Garcia used to also train Kavaliauskas, who at one point said Kavaliauskas was the hardest puncher he's ever worked with.
Yeah, a little bit of insight there going into this fight for Robert Garcia. I'll give Garcia credit. He explored some interesting options to try to be in two places at once. He actually explored the idea of taking a helicopter from Tulsa to Frisco, land right on the star that's outside, and get it in time for the Ortiz fight. The timing, it just didn't work.
Several boxing choices for your viewing pleasure tonight. We're glad you chose DAZN here tonight. Our main event, Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Egidijus Kavaliauskas, scheduled for 12 rounds. Nice uppercut with the left hand for Ortiz.
Stop! Stop!
Ortiz always stops his opponents with his hands high up, guard up, but he can release the onslaught at any second, especially the closer you get against the ropes. Expect the punches to fly from Ortiz Jr. He knows how to quietly cut off the ring little by little, and then he just explodes with the combinations.
Sergio, you asked Kavaliauskas what was Ortiz Jr.'s biggest weakness, and he said his defense. He's there to be hit, and I'm going to hit him.
Well, I kind of see what he said by that, because when I asked Ortiz Jr. what has he been working on, he says defense, upper body movement, but he doesn't really get hit with anything cleanly, so he kind of was confused as well. But the fact that he's still working on that and footwork tells me that he's still trying to improve as a young power puncher.
Yeah, I think his defense actually is a little bit underrated, largely because he does fight with that high guard. So you may connect on Vergil Ortiz's body, but he's able to deflect a lot of those shots aimed at his face.
And his offense is defense. So, you know, he has a little bit of a big shot there. Right uppercut by Kavaliauskas.
Left hand again for Kavaliauskas, and Ortiz's legs aren't quite right as he holds on.
There was a right uppercut. Ortiz Jr. didn't see that punch coming.
Ortiz Jr. looked down at the canvas for a second. He may be in trouble here.
He is in some trouble, Todd.
Kavaliauskas' right hand swings again, swing and misses on a knockdown.
No
the
knockdown.
referee says no. Back up goes Ortiz Jr.
Oh, I'd have to see a replay there, but that sure looked like a knockdown to me.
Kavaliauskas.
Ortiz hurts Kavaliauskas to the body now.
Running into this second round, Ortiz just getting more angry. Is he too brave for his own good here, though? What a round!
You gotta be smart in those situations, Vergil. Deep breath.
Hey, you gotta
Smart in
hold
those
him.
situations, all right?
All right, you steal the fucking jab right here. Once he starts coming on, you
Leave it
fucking
on his head.
hold him.
Leave it on his head. Leave it on his head.
Come on, brother.
You gotta be smart in those situations, Vergil. Be smart.
Still use that jab.
It's early in the fight. We have time.
You're going forward. Don't go forward. It's just here. Still hold your ground and then pump back. Hold your ground and then pump. Pump that fucking jab, all right? Pump that fucking
Let's
jab.
recover this round, all right? Let's make sure we're
And there was an uppercut right there, right uppercut on the inside. That's what happens when you have the guard so high up in the air. You don't see those shots coming from the bottom. Kavaliauskas caught his last opponent with the exact same punch. Ortiz Jr. has never been hurt like this.
Yeah, there you see the knockdown. A little bit earlier, there was some action that Kavaliauskas caused Ortiz to be off balance. I felt like that was caused by a shot from Kavaliauskas.
Either way, we've got a fight on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, and a good one. Kavaliauskas says, I will not be deterred by this young kid. I'll stand there and trade with him if he wants to trade with me.
And this is what Kavaliauskas believed coming in, that Ortiz, for all of his excellence, has not been in with a fighter as big or strong or as powerful as he is.
Again, Ortiz Jr., an 18-1 favorite in Las Vegas.
You always want to see how a young power puncher is going to react when he gets hurt or he gets dropped. Vergil Ortiz came back and hurt Kavaliauskas to the body, but right now it'll serve him right to get behind the jab and get in tune with your discipline.
How does a fighter handle adversity? That's the major question a lot of young talent are asked, and Ortiz Jr. being asked that right now.
And he's doing what he should do right now. Just fight behind the jab. Don't engage so far.
Kavaliauskas looking very comfortable in there tonight. He's been in big fights. He knows how to handle himself.
And that's the right move by Ortiz just a moment ago, targeting the body of Kavaliauskas. You want to try to slow him down by going downstairs.
Kavaliauskas, in fact, landed 118 punches against Terrence Crawford, more than any other fighter.
And you see Kavaliauskas holding his ground, backing up Ortiz. Now Ortiz starting to come forward, but Kavaliauskas got some respect already in that second round. You can see Vergil's thinking in there behind the jab. He's not as aggressive as he normally is with the combinations coming forward. He has to respect the counter punches and the power of Kavaliauskas already.
The jab is always there for Ortiz. There it is again. Again, and Ortiz wins him in. Is this what you want your guy to be doing right now, Sergio?
No, you need to go back behind the jab, but that's the thing about Kavaliauskas.
Oh, and he put it down! He put it down! Just a couple seconds left here in the third round, and that will do it. Ortiz wanted into exchange, and that's what happened.
Kavaliauskas with the great timing. Vergil Ortiz with the great
Vergil.
power.
You fucking fought that fight for boxing, and that's how you battle. You gotta
That's your fight, Vergil. That's your fight.
On the outside. No, you're trying to go inside too much, okay? Get that fuera, you're gonna catch this motherfucker. Even if it's in the ring, you can't fucking hang with you, okay? Don't force it.
Keep that jab. Keep that jab.
And there's that jab. This is the type of fight he needs to be fighting right now. And it was a power jab, a shotgun jab that put Kavaliauskas down. Jab, power jab right there. 1-1, 2-1.
Yeah, it looked like a mix of a power jab, kind of a half hook he threw there that caught Kavaliauskas on the chin.
You wanted entertainment? You've got entertainment. This crowd has come alive. Round 4 scheduled for 12. I don't think we'll be seeing round 12.
Vergil Ortiz Jr. giving the wink and the nod to Kavaliauskas, saying like, yeah, you got me. Giving them that Sugar Ray Leonard look.
Let's see if Kavaliauskas continues to stand in the pocket and exchange after he got sent to the canvas in round 3. Chris, how do you have it through these first 3 rounds?
Well, 2 rounds, I should say, 29-27 in favor of Vergil Ortiz. 10-8 round in that third round. Thought they split the first 2. Kavaliauskas clearly won that second round when he had Ortiz hurt. What I'll be looking for, Tom, is if this fight goes to the scorecards, was that a knockdown in the second round?
And now you understand what Bud Crawford was actually seeing and having to face when he fought Kavaliauskas in the early rounds. You know, you have to respect the power and the timing and the punch selection of Egidijus Kavaliauskas.
One reason that Kavaliauskas is not afraid of a firefight is that he is great with that timing, and he can throw those short, compact punches that do a lot of damage.
Power punches from Kavaliauskas, very similar. Both these men letting it fly.
The thing about timing, guys, is timing beats speed and timing beats power. Nothing like technique and timing, and right now Kavaliauskas is showing that.
To fans, it was certainly encouraging that when Ortiz got hurt for the first time maybe in his career, instead of cowering away, playing defense, playing it safe, he waved the mean machine in.
Both these fighters have strong chins, and obviously they can punch hard themselves, but the chin is what's impressive. They can give a big shot, they can take a big shot. You always want to see how a young fighter is going to be reacting to getting dropped like that. And Vergil Ortiz so far passed it.
Again, the jab continues to do the work for Ortiz Jr.
Kavaliauskas looking for a counter right hand, trying to time the strong jab of Ortiz, but Ortiz having his way right now. Not engaging, just pecking him apart with that power jab.
Very smart strategy from Vergil Ortiz.
Absolutely, and that's what his trainers.
Downstairs, good left hand to the body for Ortiz.
This is the fight that he needs to fight after getting hurt like this. Ortiz Jr. does. Excellent round.
How you feel? Okay, round 5 coming up. You're staying too long in there without doing nothing, okay? You're letting him tee off with the jab. He's just dominating with the jab, keeping you at a distance. You gotta open up with the right hand with your own jab, you understand? DAZN's gotta come up top, okay? He hasn't been able to get you, but DAZN is very low, backing him up. Remember, we gotta move to the side. Back him up with the jab, and then that overhand right, okay? And if remember, when he rushes in, that uppercut.
And this is what Ortiz Jr. does well, counter you with that right hand, but it's the hooks around the guard that always have Ortiz Jr. punishing his opponents. Right there, slipping away. That's the body shot that caught the attention of Kavaliauskas. And once again, but you can see he didn't commit to the attack right there. He hurt him and pulled back, going back to the jab. Very smart round by Vergil Ortiz Jr. there.
Round 5 scheduled for 12. Kavaliauskas said, I want a brawl. He has power, but I've got more power. Well, he's got the brawl, Sergio, but it looks like Ortiz has more power.
Well, that wasn't the case when we talked to Kavaliauskas. He says, I'm faster and I'm stronger, and he's proven that he belongs here. He's not going anywhere. He says, I'm meeting him in the middle of the ring, and I'm not going nowhere.
Counter right hand from Ortiz Jr., who's certainly settling into this fight. Remember, Kavaliauskas had some early success against Terrence Crawford before fading in the late rounds. Maybe we could have a carbon copy here against Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, but what Crawford started doing to have effect, he was shifting in position. He was going from orthodox to unorthodox. And it's angles. Crawford just punches you with angles.
Yeah, what's really impressive to me these last 2 rounds is the discipline that Vergil Ortiz has shown. He's staying behind the jab. He's looking for that big right hand. He knows that Kavaliauskas feeds on mistakes, times mistakes. He's not making them right now.
And we all need to see this. How's he going to handle adversity? We're used to seeing him drop his opponents. Now we see him hurt, and we see how he passed the test so far.
They're not in the middle of the ring for once. Backed up towards the corner.
And you could see that he's not attacking like he normally does. He threw a 3-punch combination and came back because he knew something else was coming. Waiting for the counter of Kavaliauskas. Very disciplined by Vergil Ortiz Jr. right there. This shows intelligence from the young man, 23 years old, but he knows that this man has power, Kavaliauskas. He can't just go in there and it's business as usual, attacking like he normally does.
You know, Ortiz, in a way, taking a page out of the Kavaliauskas playbook.
Oh, nice counter shot there from Kavaliauskas as Ortiz Jr. opened up for a second.
Kavaliauskas is usually the fighter that throws the majority of the jabs. This time it's Ortiz operating behind it the entire fight.
Notice those punches by Ortiz are more quick. They're not with bad intentions. They're faster. Usually Ortiz throws everything with meanness, but right now, the more he commits to power, the more he's going to be vulnerable to it.
Yeah, one thing Vergil Ortiz told us, what he knows about Kavaliauskas is that he's tough. So he knows he's going to be there for a while.
Kavaliauskas really comfortable in there. He didn't even flinch when Ortiz attempted to throw that right hand right there. He's waiting for the counter, Kavaliauskas is.
You're leaning too forward on the jab. It's here. You're leaning.
Dale agua, Héctor, dale agua.
Step. But sometimes see how he's covering up? That little jab far away, he already knows that one, okay? I've got to step, boom, boom, that little one, and then fucking let one, boom, boom, boom. And then back, boom. And you just backpedal. He's going to want to come. He either goes or he doesn't go, okay?
Toma, Héctor, enjuáguenselo.
You feel good? How about? Talk to him, Hector.
That's a beautiful fight from the outside like that. You're winning. You're controlling the ring and everything, okay? Keep fighting like that.
No, he's stronger. He's not bullying, he's not coming forward. Let's go. Vámonos, come on.
Get the towel off my head, says Vergil. All right, round 6. Scheduled for 12. Vergil Ortiz was in trouble, got buzzed certainly by Kavaliauskas, but answered back quickly by dropping the Lithuanian. Oh, nice counter right for Kavaliauskas. He thinks he's hurt Ortiz, and he's letting his hands go, and again, Vergil waves him in.
Yeah, there was that short right hand I was talking about, the compact punch that Ortiz kind of walked into.
And that's a counter right hand that he caught Bud Crawford with. It was a little bit more wide, but still, it was the timing that caught him. Even though you're the shorter fighter, if you have good timing, I mean, that's when you become dangerous like we're seeing here. You know how to fight strong and compact, and that's exactly what Kavaliauskas is doing. And notice how he has Vergil Ortiz weary of the counters and backing him up. Normally, we're used to seeing Vergil Ortiz being the front-footed fighter, the Punisher, coming forward. A lot of respect here.
Nice left hand and then double jab from Ortiz. Overhand right.
But look at how Ortiz is staying composed. Normally, he would start the onslaught right there. He landed 3-4 punches, and he would let the punches fly. Not anymore. He's going back to the disciplined power jab.
Minute 30 remaining here in round 6. Kavaliauskas appears to be more comfortable when he can counter punch, but once he lands that counter, Sergio, he likes to come forward and press the attack.
What Kavaliauskas has showed in his last couple of fights is that he has patience. He fights better coming forward and counter punching and putting the aggression, but he also showed that he can counter you with timing backing up as well. Excellent overall fighter.
You know, one thing I've noticed about Kavaliauskas, Sergio, is that when he is trying to avoid the jab, he doesn't lean back in the way a lot of fighters do. He leans to his left, I think in part, to be able to get off that short right hand.
Yeah, when you're the shorter fighter, that's what you have to do. If you pull back, you're going to be out of range. But if you stay in the inside with that timing, then you're able to stay there and get that right hand off.
Kavaliauskas with a couple jabs. Pretty good round for him, actually.
I agree.
And again, 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, see right there, you could see that Kavaliauskas is looking to counter with that short right hand. And there's that shotgun jab by Vergil Ortiz.
Get free shots and you're not making them pay, all right? You got to take that body shot. Take that body shot, all right? Take that body shot. It's right here, but more confident. You kind of give it to him just here. Use that jab, okay? Yeah, use that. It's on. Free, boom. Get a little closer. Get a little closer. You know he's already getting ready. Little feint, and if he shows you that.
And here's that overhand right that Kavaliauskas caught Bud Crawford with, but right here, you see the footwork, the handy footwork. He didn't show footwork in his other fights, but you see how Kavaliauskas is going in, feigning the attack, and coming back out. Really good round there by Kavaliauskas, getting that right hand down.
Ortiz Jr.'s 17 fights have averaged 3.1 rounds. We're in the 7th.
And no one has been able to pass or get out of the 7th round when they're facing Vergil Ortiz Jr. Ortiz looking to counter with that right hand. Kavaliauskas better not get lazy with that jab.
2 fighters lasted to the 7th round with Ortiz Jr., Samuel Vargas and Maurice Hooker. But he knocked both out in this round.
And there's that power jab by Ortiz.
Kavaliauskas, though, still sitting down on his punches.
Both these guys are landing some big shots right now.
And both landing big shots behind technique. See, Ortiz keeps those hands up right there. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Well, as the later this fight goes, the defense wanes when it comes to Kavaliauskas.
Good jab from Ortiz Jr.
Well, you say that, Sergio, but we have no idea what the defense is going to look like for Vergil Ortiz with these later rounds.
61 jabs from Ortiz Jr. Kavaliauskas with 28. They've thrown about the same number. Ortiz much more accurate.
I just love the jabs right now. The fact that he's going back behind the jab. Beautiful move right there. Through the right hand, went under the left hook of Kavaliauskas there, expecting it.
Upstairs, downstairs goes Ortiz. Oh, and another stiff jab. Those are going to add up quick.
Absolutely. You can ask Brad Solomon about that. The power jabs, those feel like a straight left hand from a southpaw. So Kavaliauskas already did something 17 others haven't been able to do with Vergil Ortiz.
What's that?
And then hopefully get out of his 7th round.
We're not there yet, kid.
He 100% did not want to jinx it.
40 seconds to go.
That would have been your Anthony Joshua as a composed and ferocious finisher moment.
Watch this. Love that jab. Whenever you're dealing with a sharp counterpuncher with great timing, like Kavaliauskas, just go back to the simple things, the jab. And usually young fighters just throw that out the window, especially when you're so powerful. But that's what's going to get you back to success.
Big right hand from Ortiz Jr. Just a few seconds left in the 7th. Left hook. Good round.
Dame la toalla, toma el lápiz. Así, bien.
And then you can load if he comes all the way, but don't go right back into him because you're already winning that part, okay? Yep. Deep breath. Hey, go. You're fucking here for a reason. Really? You're smart.
Even when you get him on the rope, stay at your distance. Don't crowd too much, all right? Stay at your distance.
If you're gonna fight him, you need to fucking crowd right away. It's either all the way out or
all the way in.
Okay? Once you're done, you're not strong enough.
Keep working the body. Keep working the body.
And this is what we're seeing right here, these shotgun jabs by Ortiz Jr. Those feel like straight left hands from a southpaw. Those are power punches, believe it or not. It may look like a jab, but those are power punches by Vergil Ortiz Jr. And that's what's keeping Kavaliauskas at bay, looking for that right counter like he did right there.
So for the first time, a Vergil Ortiz Jr. opponent sees round 8. And what do you make of this performance so far from the Mean Machine, Chris?
Well, I think he's been effective in spurts. He's fighting the way he wants to fight. He just can't seem to find a way to counter that jab. To Ortiz's credit, he has not just opened up recklessly and given Kavaliauskas the opening to score with a big punch, not at least since that 2nd round. So Kavaliauskas is still looking, still very much in it, but Ortiz is starting to take over.
There's a counter right from the Mean Machine. They exchange jabs.
I've never seen Vergil Ortiz punch recklessly. I think, you know, he throws punches in combinations and it looks like an onslaught, but definitely not reckless.
Not reckless per se, but throwing 3, 4, 5 punch combinations. A little bit difficult, more difficult to do against a fighter with the kind of skill and technique of Kavaliauskas.
And that's why I'm impressed with the maturity of Vergil Ortiz, because he's not doing the barrage of punches with the combination he normally throws, because he knows something's coming back.
Now they're fighting on the inside as this crowd begins to buzz, and Kavaliauskas doesn't look great. A body shot sends him down for the second time in this fight.
And it was a power jab again, but to the body right there. I'm telling you, those are hard shots. Those aren't jabs or regular jabs. They're hard left hands.
He's the first opponent to see round 8 against Ortiz, but will he see round 9? The crowd is on their feet here in Frisco, Texas.
And moves by Ortiz here, targeting the body of Kavaliauskas on that first punch, keeping his arms down, trying to go over something big upstairs.
Downstairs and upstairs, seems like it's just a matter of time before Ortiz gets another KO victory.
You can see kind of the spirit being taken away from Egidijus Kavaliauskas.
That's what body shots do to you. And you can also see the discipline and maturity, the patience behind the power of Vergil Ortiz.
Is he the ferocious finisher that we believe him to be?
Right now, he's the composed and ferocious finisher.
Big left hook! Down goes the machine for the third time!
Body language is wilting away from the mean machine, looking down.
It took Terrence Crawford 9 rounds to beat Kavaliauskas. Can Ortiz do it in 8?
The glove touches again. That'll be knockdown number 4.
Looks like the mean machine is breaking down here.
10 seconds left. Ortiz looking to land one more big power punch to erase Kavaliauskas once and for all. And he's done it! The Texas Hammer drops again! Vergil Ortiz Jr. Knockout number 18. Win number 18.
The Punisher is back in Grand Prairie. This is how you become a star in your own hometown.
This is what they came to see. The 23-year-old does it again and in style.
Vergil Ortiz told us, I can't knock out everyone. That's not my goal. But that certainly is what happened when this man let those fists fly.
Credit to Egidijus Kavaliauskas, who gave as good as he got for a few rounds, but in the end, Ortiz Jr. just too good.
Too good, too smart, and it seems like he's too mature now, because this fight could have easily gotten out of hand and out of his hands, but it didn't, because he got composed and went back to that shotgun jab.
The question now will be, Sergio, is Ortiz Jr. ready to become a world champion?
Absolutely. He's ready for the best of them, because he reacted like a champion. He got up off the floor. He got up from being hurt, and he went and he took care of business. This is what you want to see if he has that championship level, and he does.
Well, he didn't get knocked down, Sergio, but he was certainly buzzed in the early rounds.
He got hurt. He got hurt bad.
Well, it was an entertaining scrap. Kudos again to the mean machine for going toe-to-toe with this kid. But, you know, Terrence Crawford watching right now. What do you think he's thinking about Ortiz Jr.?
Well, listen, whenever you're dealing with Bud Crawford, you know, he's a mean machine himself. This guy's a beast. So he's probably licking his chops right now. But credit to Ortiz Jr., he just knocked out a man that you know, Bud Crawford had some difficulty with as well. So Bud has to respect this. But, yeah, man. This is a mean machine, but so is Bud Crawford.
Grand Prairie, Texas's own Vergil Ortiz Jr. He is now a headliner for sure, Sergio. Thousands of fans flock to this venue. They know what they're going to get with this guy. He just doesn't come to win. He comes to destroy.
Yeah, seek and destroy, Marvin Hagler style, but you know, he showed something else tonight. You know, not having Robert Garcia in his corner. And he went through adversity. He got hurt. He had some scary moments, but he showed composure. He showed maturity. And this is what you want to see from a young fighter who's ready to cross over, whether he has that. If he can come back from being hurt and come back and control the fight and still get the knockout, that's impressive right there.
So here come those knockdowns, plenty of them to talk through, Sergio.
Yeah, but you can see he was still leery, and it's that power jab to the gut right there. looks for the big shots, but that power jab down to the gut is what did it. And Kavaliauskas, credit to him, he was still looking for the counters, but that's when the barrage of punishment started for Vergil Ortiz. Once he sees a fighter hurt, the avalanche of punishment comes, and he's relentless in there.
Bomac, the trainer for Terrence Crawford, just sent me a text message and said, let everyone know Bud Crawford, if they fight, will knock out Vergil Ortiz Jr.
Hey, listen, man, that's why I said Bud is just as mean as anybody, and he has a chip on his shoulder as well. You know, Crawford's one of the best fighters in the world, but, you know, heavy hands-wise, this is one of the heaviest hands out there that lands at a higher percentage in Vergil Ortiz.
Either way, I'd sure like to see it, whether it's sooner or later. Ortiz versus Crawford would be good stuff. Let's send it into the ring and make it official now with Jeremiah Gallegos.
Ladies and gentlemen, here for the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Our referee, Lawrence Cole, waves this contest. The official time comes to you. 2:59, round number 8. Declaring your winner by TKO and still the WBO International Welterweight Champion, the undefeated Fighting Pride of Grand Prairie, Texas, the phenomenal Vergil Ortiz Jr.
Vergil Ortiz Jr. now 18-0 with 18 knockouts, Sergio. Not a lot of fighters, I don't care what kind of opponents they face, have a record like that.
No, and against the opposition that he's doing it with, against fighters that haven't been knocked out, and he's been doing that in the last 4 opponents. That's the impressive part. They're moving him fast, but he's passing the test with flying colors.
Edgar Berlanga was on that knockout streak for a while, but now it's the Vergil Ortiz KO show. Who's going to stop this 23-year-old from Texas, as he is now standing by with Chris Mannix?
Well, Vergil, congratulations. In 2021, we've seen a lot of top young fighters go through adversity and shine in it. We saw Ryan Garcia do it. We saw Devin Haney do it. Now it feels like we saw you do it in this fight. What did you think of your performance?
You know, I think I did all right. I got the win. I could have looked a little prettier doing it, but hey, I'm happy with my performance, and we're only going to get better from here.
I mentioned that adversity. Second round, it looked like you got into more trouble than we've seen you get in at any point in your career. It even looked like there might have been a knockdown that wasn't scored. You weren't knocked out.
Nope, not at all. You know, he caught me with a good shot, but I took it well, and I recovered from it, and here I am.
When he started to come forward, and here we see the sequence that we're talking about, when he started to come forward and was landing shots, what was going through your mind?
It's, you know, it's boxing. That happens in sparring all the time. Not necessarily me getting hit a lot, but people coming at me like that, barraging, and, you know, I'm used to it. Yeah.
When you were going back to your corner after that second round, how were you feeling going into it?
Hey, I mean, honestly, I don't think I was as hurt as you think I was. You know, I mean, he got me with a good shot, you know, but, you know, this is boxing. Everyone's going to get hit at one point, and I felt good. Right now, I'm not even tired.
You responded incredibly well, whether you were knocked down or not. You responded well in that third round, landing that left hand. Looked like a left jab that put Kavaliauskas down for the first time. What did you see there?
Well, I think it was more of a flash knockdown, if I'm being honest, because I didn't see him really stumble a lot. But, I mean, yeah, you know, well, his knee kind of buckled there. It was a good shot. It was just a perfectly placed shot.
In the fourth round and then beyond, you just start to take over. You were disciplined throughout this fight. You fought behind the jab throughout the course of this fight. Was that the game plan against the guy that you said coming in was really tough?
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's what we worked on. We worked on trying to box and all that stuff, the whole training camp, and we put it to good use.
Take me through the finish of this fight, because you've said to us, you can tell when a guy's hurt. You can read their body language. In that last round, what were you seeing?
I'm not gonna lie, I really couldn't tell he was hurt, except when I had to chase him down pretty much. But no, he does a really good job of masking it.
What adjustments did you make, especially in this last round?
You know what? I just, at first, I was trying to boxing, and then the body shots, my dad told me from the beginning, before the fight, the body shots were going to be the key to victory, and I slowed them down, and that's all she wrote.
At what point could you see those body shots start to take something out of him?
In that second round, that's when I caught him with the first body shot. If you pay attention, that's exactly what happened.
I'm not sure if it was in your mind at all, but it took Terence Crawford 9 rounds to finish Kavaliauskas. You did it in 8. Does that matter to you?
Was it 8 rounds?
Just at the end of the 8th round.
It felt like it was 4. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything to me because me and Crawford are different fighters, different skill sets. You know, that doesn't really mean anything to me.
Well, do you walk away from this fight believing you're ready for Terence Crawford?
Yes, sir.
What has to happen for that fight to happen soon?
There's so much shit going on in boxing, I don't even know what I have to do anymore.
Do you feel like you've earned that opportunity?
Yes.
What's your message now to Terence Crawford?
I'm here whenever. I'm ready to fight whenever. I'm here to fight anybody. I don't care if it's Crawford, Spence, Pacquiao, you name it. I'll fight anyone.
Congratulations, Vergil. Another great performance.
Thank you.
Guys.
He said it could have been prettier, Sergio. That may be the case, but it was certainly definitive as Vergil Ortiz Jr. drops the Mean Machine a total of 4 times, winning by KO at the end of round 8.
Because he heard him, he did exactly what he said he was going to come and do. Whether he knocked him down or not, he was hurt. Ortiz may not admit it, that's the pride of a fighter, but he was hurt, he was shook, and he had some issues with Kavaliauskas, because that's what Kavaliauskas does well. His timing, the short arm punching that he does with the left and rights. But right there, Ortiz Jr. caught him at the end of the punches, and he stayed disciplined behind the power, and that's what impressed me about him. He didn't start the barrage of punishment like he normally does once he smells the blood in the air. He had to take his time this time with strong jabs and defense like that. It's just a beautiful thing to watch. Seeing a young kid like this, a young star, developing in front of our eyes like this. Not forgetting the body, not forgetting that he has a dangerous counterpuncher in front of him, and in the end it was a jab to the body. Of course, if it was stronger than that, but it was a well-timed, well-placed jab to the body that did it, that put him down. Then the barrage started, and that's the impressive part right there, Todd.
And he didn't let him off the hook. He could tell that the round was coming to an end, and he went for the gusto and got it right before the end of the round. Vergil Ortiz said it felt like it was a 4-rounder. He said, "I'm not tired." As he picks up the biggest win of his career and celebrates with his home state fans here in Texas. And they were behind this guy from the opening bell. And you don't usually see this much personality out of Ortiz Jr. He usually likes to keep things quiet unless he's playing one of those classic rock songs on his beloved guitar.
Now we're watching a star evolve and develop in front of our eyes, and he's a humble young fighter, but he's very intelligent, very smart, and that's just his temperament, that's his style. But he's gonna evolve into a superstar little by little, and the fans, of course, are gonna support him.
Let's look at our CompuBox statistics from this